Hey friends, welcome. So today we're going to focus on comparing fractions. So get out your book, open up to page 613, and let's get started. You can compare fractions when the two fractions refer to the same size whole. So maybe that whole's a whole chocolate bar, a whole pizza, a whole number line. I'll show you what I mean. Example 1. Read along with me. AJ has 3/6 of his homework done. Yuki finished 4/6 of hers. Who's finished a greater part of their homework? The first way to do it is by using tiles. So as you can see, I drew two fraction tiles of the exact same size, and I broke them into 6 pieces since our denominator is 6. So I'm going to label the first one AJ. And we know that AJ did 3/6 of his homework. So we color in 3 of them. Now let's label the other one Yuki. And we know that Yuki did 4/6 of her homework. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you for helping. So as you can see, when you draw your visual and you make sure that both the top and the bottom are the same, Yuki clearly did more homework than AJ did. Thank you. So now a number line works as well. I drew one number line and I broke it into 6 pieces because our denominator is 6. So here we go. And I'm going to use the same colors I used on my first example. AJ was red and he did 3/6 of his work. Yuki, we used blue, and she did 4/6. So the number line also shows us that Yuki clearly did more homework. But remember, you have to make sure that your spaces are evenly matched. All right. Now, your denominator won't always be the same. So let's look at example 2, where the denominators are different. Camille and Peter were reading a book. Camille read 1/4 of her book, while Peter read 1/3 of his. Who read the greater part of the book? Now remember, I mentioned that the whole has to be the same size. So that means they had to have read the same book. But the pieces don't have to be the same. So I drew 2 number lines here. The first one is broken into 3 pieces. So I'm going to use my red to label Peter. 0 thirds, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. And we know that Peter read 1/3. So we're going to color in all the way from the 0 to the 1. Now Camille read 1/4 of her book. So I cut my number line. Remember, my number line is the same size because my book has to be the same, but it's cut into smaller pieces. So this is Camille. We have 0/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. And now I'm going to color in up to the 1/4 for Camille. As you can see, just slightly, Peter read just a little bit more of that book than Camille did. So there you have it. 1/3 is actually bigger than 1/4. And you might be thinking to yourself, but isn't 4 bigger? You're right. But that means Camille cut her piece into smaller pieces because the bigger your denominator is, the smaller your pieces actually are. He only cut his book into 3 pieces. So the smaller your denominator is, the larger your pieces are. I know, it's a little tricky, but you'll get it, I promise. Let's keep going. Let's go ahead and look at guided practice number 1. while I erase this. Hopefully you had enough time to copy this down. So once again, guided practice number 1 has the matching denominators. So I'm also going to give you a little trick. Pay attention. I like attaching my tiles, even though the book doesn't. It helps me keep my pieces the same size. So the top one was 1/3. The bottom one was 2/3. So here we go. They want us to use the greater, less than, or equal sign. So we look here and we see clearly 2/3 is greater than 1/3. So we're going to use the less than symbol, and this is red. 1/3 is less than 2/3. So what I was going to tell you is if your denominators are the same, you look for the top number, which is the numerator, to be larger. So remember that. If your denominators are the same, you want your numerator to be larger. That's how you find the largest one. However, watch what happens this way. So now we have a shape that's the same size whole, but the pieces are different. So imagine if I had a candy bar and I shared it with one person, we would each get 1/2. Now, if I decided to be nice and share my candy bar with 3 people, so 4 of us, and we each only get 1/4, but my candy bar is the same, notice my piece got a heck of a lot smaller. So now let's color it in and actually compare it. Losing my voice. We clearly see that 1/2 is way larger than 1/4 because I'm only sharing my candy bar with one other person. So I would use the greater than symbol. So if that number on the bottom is different, you actually want to look for the smaller denominator, and that usually gives you the bigger piece. So good luck with your classwork, good luck with your homework, and let me know how it goes.